Welcome to the Sports Card Lessons Podcast with me, your host, Big Ken. Whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on a streaming service, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified whenever I drop any new content. Welcome, and thanks for being here. Just over a month away until National in Rosemont, Illinois. Woo! Just a little over a month away. We are down to the final push. And I know it is that word, the national is on everybody's mind. It's coming out of everybody's mouth. Everybody's talking about it. It is all the buzz, right? Just getting ready to go. So last year is being in New Jersey, there was a lot of planning, but I mean, you just knew you were driving and now it's when you're setting up, I mean, everything has changed because you've got to get all your stuff out there to Chicago now, and if you're not driving, you need to figure things out. Everything that had a plan, everything, and I say everything that had a plan has changed, and it's changed a number of times, but it's all been for the better. Like everything else in life, we just have to roll with the punches, see what's going on, and keep adapting. And this hobby is no different. Always adapting, always changing, always figuring out what everybody's buying, what everybody's trying to buy, what they're doing, whether everybody's buying singles and grading or whatever's going on. Everything is always changing, and that's the kind of cool thing about this hobby is we're constantly adapting. um we talk about the national all year long. um Mentally, and I know for me, but I think most people, because when I say this, people shake their head and laugh. Mentally started planning on the trip home from the last one, literally packing up the car, thinking about next year, and got in the car and driving home, from Atlantic City. And all I had on my mind was, you know, what next year will look like, what I need to do different, things that worked, things that didn't work. Um, and we do that for what, like 6 months, right? And then, you know, we really start making plans and hobby moves, come January. Uh, I know for myself, it starts in December. I start going to the NSCC website in December, and I'm looking weekly, almost every couple days, waiting for them to, start listing for hotel reservations to open up because I want to be the first one to jump on because I want to have a great room selection. I did that the year before. The year before it was in November. I think we signed up for it, and I started checking in November actually this year, but I think it opened up December. Probably middle of maybe around 15th, 16th of December. And I jumped in and I right away, and everybody I knew, and I think I even mentioned it on the podcast. And I knew those rooms were going to be selling out fast. And I know people who decided in February, like they were going to start looking, connecting and going on for rooms, and they were pushing them way down the street because everything locally was booked up. Uh, Table space. Like last year, this year, I had a half a table booked. I paid for it in February. I was ready to go. And then a great opportunity came in April. I was able to uh, get a half a booth at this year's national. It was just being at a show at the right place at the right time. A half a booth came available. I jumped right in. I said, "I'm all in. Whatever I need to do, I'll take it." And just being that person, being there, right place, right time. Um, it was promised to me, and yeah. So this year, and now, just talking about the logistics, right, of getting having a half a booth now, getting, all my stuff from Connecticut out to Chicago when I really don't want to make that drive. So I have to make arrangements to get, my stuff transported out there. So it's more logistics and more things going on because initially, I was just going to bring my cards and was going to have one case and that was it. Now it's a whole new ball game, and I've been really really making plans and reaching out to people and figuring out how I'm doing this and things are coming together. Um, the Wolf Pack, we're doing a trade night. That is locked and loaded. The trade night is all set, locked and loaded. Friday night, July 28th, across the street, at the Crown Plaza, right, or Crown Royal Hotel. And it's a cash bar, it's DJ, it's giveaways. It's what everybody's talking about now. We're all set. That's all set, ready to go. Um, Also starting to plan dinners and meetups with friends, new and old, people that I've known and people that I've never met before that I communicate with online that are going to be out there. So just planning meetups and just looking forward to meeting so many people that I communicate with all year and I've never met up with because they're, in different parts of the country that our paths have never crossed. I talked about building my national inventory. I talked about price points, talked about strong hands, and I've stuck to those plans, and I know it's hard. If you really know me, I get so excited to go to these shows and I want to put the best of everything I have in my case at the shows. So it was difficult for me just to keep getting these cards and putting them in a separate box and just putting them aside and just saying, just leave them alone, leave them alone. I stuck to those plans and over since January, I built up a 70 card inventory with prices ranging from $350 to 3K. I've shared a lot of the cards that I've picked up. And a lot of the cards, every price point between that 350 and 3K, but the sweet spot being, I think, between the 500 and 1600. For me, that's my spot. And I know I get people that send me messages and say, "Oh, you're shortchanging yourself." The people are coming to the national and they want to buy those big cards. You should have those 3,000 and 4,000 and probably right. They're probably right. But I think for everybody, they have a lane. They know what they're comfortable putting out there, and I think for me, with what I figured out, um, I could have probably cut that 70 cards into 25 cards, right? And made them $3,000 or whatever, however the money would break down. Um, but I enjoy moving I'm not gonna say lower end, what's it, mid-end? Are we talking mid-end? What do they say? Anything under 500 is low end, over 500 is mid-end, and over 5K is high end. That's what I hear. I don't have anything not yet, I'm not going anything in the 5K range. I think my top is 3K, 3,200 would be the top card for me, and one of them, couple in the upper 2000s, couple in the mid 2000s, a handful right around 2K, right, and then right in that 500 to 16, 1700. I have a lot of cards there, but they're great cards and they're cards that people are going to want, and cards that I'm watching. Similar cards with the prices and the comps are continuously going up on them. So I'm excited. I'm excited that I have these cards, and I'm excited the prices, are where they're at. I still have 2 orders out at PSA, that I'll be adding some of those cards to the inventory. A lot of Desmond Ritter RPAs that I talked about picking up for, very early on, January, February, before anybody was picking that stuff up. Um, and I've massed a small collection and I've sent them off to PSA all for grading. So I'm excited to see those come back and um, add those to that inventory as well. Uh, I've separated, speaking of my inventory, I've separated, my lower end stuff, my lower end inventory, and that's what I'm bringing to the shows. And I've talked about this. That's what I've been bringing to the last handful of shows I've been to. Um, and I'm moving a lot of those cards, and I don't mind. I'm moving them under comps. I'm moving them about 80, 85% comps. I'm good with that. I'm happy to move that because I'm able to turn that cash right back into, you know, cash for cards for that national inventory just to keep adding to that box. A number of things that I sold on eBay helped me, purchase that 2017 Patrick Mahomes, the lime, the rated rookie lime, the PSA 9. I talked about getting. I actually got that through PWCC, right? But I was just selling stuff, not even leaving the house, just selling that stuff through eBay and letting that account just build up. And I'm not selling big things there, right? It's all 25, 40, 50, $60 cards, but it's just a lot of them, and that money's just starting to build up. I talked about getting the Sports Illustrated for kids, when it first came out. I don't even remember when it came out. I know it was in the fall, um, but I bought 5 of those because um, Alyssa Thompson, the number 1 draft in women's soccer, was one of the cards in there. And, turns out that Victor Wembanyama is in there as well, right? And I started looking at that, what, a week and a half, 2 weekends ago, right? All of a sudden, somebody was talking about his Sports Illustrated, card being graded like a 4 and selling for like $1,000. I'm like, Wait, what?" I said, "I just looked at it when I heard, and I knew this, and I knew there was going to be some push on this on Victor." Um, I went and looked at the prices on those because I had purchased those. I bought 5 of them at $20 each. I bought them all from one a newsstand in upstate New York, um, and they shipped them to me. They were in, fabulous condition, and I looked at them at one point and I saw some they were selling them for like 45 and $50, and that wasn't that long ago. So then I just put them back in. I said, "No, I'm just hold on to them." But then I saw this was happening, and I I took those and I put them up on eBay, and they sold in 2 days at $150 each. Um, so I'm able to take that money, right? That's all found money. Able to take that money and just pump it back into, buying some cards. And, you know, it- we talk about, I always talk about, things where I went wrong and mistakes I made. Well, there is a decision I made for one reason, and it turned out that it was such a positive thing on the other side. And I've learned my lesson, and I've talked about this over and over. And I really have. I've learned my lesson. I like the prospect, but everything that I've prospect over the last 2 years that I was like, "Oh, this I'm gonna hold this, or I'm gonna demand this money," or whatever, it's just come back to burn me. The prices of the bottom falls out of these cards, and then I'm standing there and like, "Oh, man, I should have sold these at the height." And here's the thing, like, here's a guy that I think he's gonna be a superstar, right? But this is Sports Illustrated for Kids magazine. I mean, this is not even, you know, uh, any real card yet. I mean, these cards are okay. It's his first card, but as soon as these 2023 boxes start coming out, I mean, I could see the price is going to be dropping on those Sports Illustrated cards very quickly. So I was happy to move those and not even look back. If for some reason those cards end up being more than good on the people who bought them from me, but I'm not making any more mistakes hanging on to things, that could fall. Like, I'm in this, I'm buying this. I like prospecting, and I really wanted to be that guy when I got into this. I really wanted to be that guy that held on to these things. And I know some other people I talked to in the hobby, especially with the Desmond Ritter cards. There's some people some collectors out there I talk to, and they shake their head. They're like, no, don't sell any. I mean, he's really going to be the guy. And I'm like, he very well could be, but when I'm looking at the profits, and it's reminding me of Mac Jones last year, where Mac Jones cards were just going through the roof, and I was sitting on like 15 or 20 really great cards of his. And I never did move them, just thinking, oh, I'll hold this one, I'll hold that one, I like this card or whatever. And then look what happened. I mean, the market just dropped out of the bottom. Now I'm still sitting on most of those cards. I'm hoping that he'll come back this year and there'll be, some more value in those cards. But um, I could really see that happening with Desmond Ritter if he just went out. There's gonna be so much hype on him between now and the National, and even August. I think that those prices are just going to keep going up, and that's what I foresaw. And that's the reason I got in, was to buy now and sell before he ever steps on the field to play a game this year. Um, and that was my plan, and that's my plan to stick. I'm sticking to that plan. He's not a guy that I want to PC. I mean, I have plenty of people that I PC, and I'm buying all their cards regardless of what they're doing, and I'm holding all those cards regardless. Um, but he's not a guy that I'm PCing, nor that I want to PC. So I'm buying these cards just to move these cards. Um, and take that profit, right, and move it into something else. Um, I talked about the other stuff I have on eBay. I have about 100 cards on eBay that I just find that every week a couple sell, every week, every week, every week, and I'm happy to sell them. These are cards that I bring in back and forth to shows and nobody's buying, but now on eBay there's more eyes, and I know I'm paying, FeeBay, I'm paying the fees there, but I think I priced them well enough that it's an interesting thing, and I've talked about this, especially what like the music cards, that a handful of those cards paid for all the grading and put money back in my pocket, turned a profit. So the cards that are out there now that I'm selling a lot of those on eBay, it's really free money. It's all pure profit, whatever comes out. So, if the card, if the market says the comps on the card are $45, and I put them out there for $45, buy it now or best offer, and somebody's offering me $30 or $33, of course I'm going to take it. Why would I not take it? Um, if I'm at a show and I take these same cards to the show, I'm willing to take 25 or $30 for those cards, because I've already made all my money back on it. And now I'm just hoping to move those cards again, take that money and just put it into something a little bit more positive. Um, so moving forward now, what do we have? 5 weeks, a little over 5 weeks. I still have a number of shows I'm attending between now and then. Starting this weekend, I'm going to a local show here, Plainville, Connecticut. I mention this show all the time. It's a great local show that I'm going to go there and, see what I can get, see what kind of damage I could do over there, right? The following weekend, that's a big weekend. This is probably going to be the biggest weekend before the National. I'm doing Chantilly. I'm setting up there. I'll be there the whole weekend with my guy Tom at Kirill Recognize Real. Met Tom just going to the shows. Tom and I literally collect the same stuff. A lot of the women's basketball, the women's soccer, always messaging, always comparing notes. We bought all these hobby boxes from Parkside Collectibles, the 2023 hobby boxes, and just going back and forth on the cards we're getting, and looking forward to setting up with him. He was able to give me some space in his booth for that weekend, so I'm going to be happy to be there. I've never done that show, and I possibly may have some stuff that, I just wanna drop off and just, some last minute stuff to be graded and maybe just get it graded while I'm there or, work it out, just hand into them to make sure that I get it back, before Rosemont. Uh, there's a Laz show. I just saw that popped up the first week in July. I think it's around July 8th, 7th or 8th, whatever that Saturday is in New Jersey. So that's always a good show to go to if I need some last minute pickups or I want to make some more sales. And there's even like I talked about social media, buying and selling, Facebook, Instagram, mentioned eBay a number of times. You think I'm getting paid for them? How many times I mentioned them, but it's just that's just worked out for me. And the funny thing is, the post office is like an eighth of a mile away, and it's this like little tiny post office that no one's ever in. So I'll be here in the office doing something, and I'll see a sale come through, and people are always commenting, "Oh my God, crazy fast shipping." Well, I'll just print out the shipping label, package it up on my way anywhere, I just pop in there and just drop it off. So it works out well for shipping too. I don't where I lived before I moved here, I used to have to drive to the post office, stand in line for 10 minutes. It was always a hassle. Um, although I'm starting to see football comps rising, um, and I'm talking about going to these shows, now is the time I need to make good educated decisions on buying. Price points and margins. They become risky as prices rise. For me, and I'm excited now because the moves I made were the right moves. And I can sit here now in June and tell you how easy it was to buy football in January, February, March, and even into April when prices were down. That I just had the capital to put out in buying those cards and just put them aside. And buying them in those months at that time of year and the prices I was paying the comps I was paying on them, I'm almost guaranteed to turn some type of profit on all those cards come July. So it's easy. It's easy for me to say that, but now we're into June, right? It's like, okay, now we saw the prices pop up on a lot of these cards. Um, where do they go from there? Do they keep rising? Do they do they stay where they are? Do they drop? June and July, I mean, especially June, it becomes very tricky, especially if you're in the flip game and you want to take these cards and you want to, 5 weeks later, you want to flip them in Chicago, put them in your case and flip them in Chicago. Um, and it becomes very tricky because those margins are, if I'm buying a card in January, um, at what is 90% of the comp at that time, where look at today's prices, it would literally, for me, it would have been buying at 60 or 65% of the comp. So even if I go out there and the prices don't go up that much more and I can sell at 85 or 90, I'm still in a 20%, right? I'm still making money. But if we're buying cards now in June, how much are they going to go up? How much could they possibly go up? And they could go down too, right? So it becomes very tricky of what you're buying into this time of year. And I talked about many times that was the mistake I made last year. I picked up all these great cards in, January, February, March, April, but then I started selling them in June because that's what everybody was buying them. And I saw the prices rising. I saw that I could make some profit. And I was like, yeah, I want to be the guy. I was the most popular guy last June everybody was coming to me. And I talked about you go back and listen to that podcast in June, a couple of those podcasts in June, doing a Laz show and doing I think it was a Springfield show. There was a couple of shows I talked about. I was the most popular guy. I was making all these sales and people were coming over because they were buying all my inventory to take to national. Right. I mean, really, that's what it came down to. And then when I got to the national, I said, man, look at all these cards. Look at the prices are way up. I should have held them and started selling them there. So I'm not making that mistake this year. But I don't want to make that mistake and overpay for a card either that, I'm just going to break even on or perhaps even lose money. So it just becomes tricky this time of year. Um, what you're buying into and how you're buying it, and just try to make educated decisions. Another thing that I've been doing and I've talked about is women's soccer, and the prices of those, especially on the key players, are rising up. The World Cup, Women's World Cup's in July. So I've built a small inventory, nothing big, nothing over the top, but players that are going to be playing on the US team, and some top players in the NWSL. I just have a separate showcase for that, for the women's soccer, that I've been picking these cards up over the last 8 to 10 months. And now I'm excited to finally be able to, come July, be able to put these cards out and see what happens. See what happens. I don't have a great deal invested in it. Um, Most of the cards I was buying was really for my PC, a lot of Trinity Rodman. But I've been picking up other cards. I probably have, I don't know, 25, 30, lower ends women's soccer cards that we'll see what happens when I put them out. I bought them all raw, graded them myself on a deal PSA had, a month or so ago. At $14. So I sent them all off, got graded, and we'll see what happens. I'm excited to put them out and see what happens. And not only that, I'm excited to have people that collect the same people I do, right? And have people to talk to come in and start talking about women's soccer and things like that. I'm excited for that. I'm excited to have those conversations. Uh, I'm just excited, right? I'm starting to get excited uh just about this whole thing. And I think like everyone else is. And the more excited I am, it's because I feel like I'm really prepared. I felt I was prepared last year, and when coming out of Atlantic City, I realized how unprepared I was, and I identified the mistakes I made. So moving into this year, moving into Rosemont, um, I've corrected those mistakes, and I feel like I'm more prepared. I'm sure afterwards I'm going to be doing an episode saying this was the mistake I made, or but it's just sports card lessons, right? It's lessons. It's lessons. I'm always learning, and I think everybody else is too. But preparation is key, right? Especially when the national, this one event holds so many inner events, right? So many inner events. That's what makes this such an incredible event. It's not, you go to a Super Bowl, before the game party, the game, and maybe after the game party. This is a little different, right? It's a whole week, and every day there's so many inner events going on at this one big event. There's something there for everyone, and it's just such an exciting time. So definitely looking forward to it. Like I said, I'm doing a Saturday show. I'm not setting up, just walking the show in Plainville, Connecticut this weekend, and I will be back Monday with a new episode. I want to thank everyone for tuning in, and if you like what you hear, please definitely subscribe, and most importantly, tell a friend and spread the word. Until next time, take care of yourselves and everyone around you.